Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I almost said welcome back if this is your first time here. I'm jumbled. So I think this is going to be my second video back after my disappearance. I haven't even introduced myself. Hello, I'm Frances. Happy to have you. I don't know if I should be doing like an intro every single time with like a little backstory, but at this point I feel like most of you guys know me. So I'm excited to be sitting down. If you are a regular on my channel and for some reason you didn't catch up with the last video and you're like, wait, hello, welcome back to my feed. I did make a little bit more of an explanation video, tell you guys kind of where I was, what was going on in my life, had a little crisis, had a little mentee bee. We're back, and now I've just been in a lot of therapy. I am tapering down now because I was doing a really intense version of therapy, and if you guys know what IOP is, then you know. So for a bit, I was going like 5 days a week, and it was a little overwhelming for me to even think about jumping back into YouTube. But I got my first video out. The response was so sweet and overwhelming, and you guys just poured so much love into the comments on that video, so I really appreciate you guys welcoming me back. Now I'm just dropping down to doing therapy fewer days per week. I'm gonna have a lot more time, and I'm just super excited to like be back in the groove, but also be in a groove that is probably a lot more realistic and productive. But shortly after I posted my first video, I went on Instagram and I was like, let's catch up. Send me questions that you guys are curious about from when I was gone or just in general. You can get to know me a little better if you do not. And otherwise, I'm just gonna try to bridge the gap a little more. Today's video is very much just gonna be a little sit down sesh. It's nothing crazy. My apartment is starting to come together. I have this giant couch behind me. I ended up getting rid of the couch that you guys saw in my last video and just completely upgrading because this couch is worth like $2,000. I got it essentially free. It's beautiful. It was like brand new. The issue with the other couch, as much as I liked it, the upholstery is just not cat safe. My cats were damaging the shit out of it so quickly, and I was like, I'm gonna give this to somebody who will take better care of it before it's destroyed. And so I got this velvet couch. She's a blue sectional. I have the middle section of the couch right here because you guys probably can't tell, maybe you can. This thing is huge, and where this part is, I'm gonna put like a little breakfast nook. Had to sacrifice the middle section, but even just like this, it's basically like a full bed. It's so comfy cozy, although I have to vacuum like every single morning because it's dark and it shows like every bit of hair. But the apartment is slowly progressing. I kind of want to show you guys, but I also feel like I should just do like a whole apartment update video, go thrifting. I've never actually smoked inside this apartment. I'm nervous to do so. So I put my cats away and opened the balcony door, got the fans going. Hopefully maintenance isn't like,
what you doing? What you doing in there, girl?
because I would just like hide and not answer the door. It isn't me. The first question I want to start out with, because I feel like it's just pretty basic, get it established, is how are things in general? In my last video, I was really sad because you guys know that I had to put my rabbit down who I had her for 8 years, but she was about like 10 or so. I feel like right after it happened, I had like 3 hard days and then I kind of shut off for a couple weeks and I tried not to think about it as much. And in the last few days, I have been quite distraught over it again. It's really hard when it's a pet that is in your life for a prolonged period like that, like almost a decade. It's a good fucking chunk of my life. I feel like I'm good overall. I've made a lot of friends. I feel like I've come out so much of the introversion that I had for years. I'm almost starting to question, I'm like, am I as introverted as I thought? I'm not sure that I am. I think I know myself so well. I'm always so convinced that I'm like a pretty self-aware person and I just understand myself, but then I surprise myself because I'll be like, I was in touch. I did understand, you know, what was going through my mind or whatever at the time. I feel like over the last few years, some of what I thought was my personality was actually just trauma speaking. I don't feel as introverted. I actually feel like hanging out with people like all the fucking time. I think maybe I also just want to catch up on the years lost. Every time I think about not going to therapy anymore with these people, and like as people are cycling in and out and it's like not quite the same group, I feel like it's like when you're at a job and then your favorite coworkers quit. Whenever I lose someone that I'm just like talking to, I'm so sad. I can't even imagine when I graduate because I'm just really attached to my counselors and everybody there. I need to force myself to answer questions quicker because I'm really fucking bad at that. I can never like speed run through questions. I always feel like I have so much to say for every little thing, and maybe that's excessive. The best thing I've done recently, bro, is lower my tolerance. Cause like, in my videos even a few months ago, I was taking enough edibles. It was kind of rare for me to get super stoned from just smoking. It's not like I've completely stopped edibles, but I've really cut down. I probably take them like once a week, maybe twice a week. Are there any video ideas you really want to try but are worried that we won't like? Sometimes I do think about this, or like sometimes I just miss the mark like a little bit, like everybody does on YouTube. Well, some people are blessed and they just like always get views, but also like I don't try hard enough. Like I used to try so hard. I try a lot with each video and it's editing and everything. Well, most of them. This one's not gonna be that well edited actually. Okay, but it's not that I don't put effort into my specific videos, it's just that I could be following trends a lot more. I could be posting across platforms, which I'm really not very often because my Instagram got deleted again today, even though I post once every 6 months. It's at this point, I literally think bots are after my account. This was so long-winded and I got way off track. But what I was gonna say, sometimes I do have videos that I think you guys are gonna like and then it doesn't really do well. Yeah, it's so confusing. I have some videos that I think I wanna do but maybe wouldn't be super popular. I can usually tell somewhat if a video is gonna do better than others, but then sometimes I just get surprised and I'm like, never mind. How does weed affect your day-to-day life? Have you ever tried to quit and how did you find that? Weed has affected my day-to-day life very differently depending on the phase, depending on my age, like my depression level, if I'm functioning super highly. I think there's been times in my life where I'm smoking way too much weed. Currently in life, I don't feel that I'm doing that. And I'm really, really proud of my progress in other aspects of life. And I would say weed is just something that I use for fun. It's something that I use to relax if I'm having pain. I use to sleep. I don't really think it negatively impacts my life a ton, but I think if I don't control my relationship with it, it could start to. But that's why I don't really try to smoke in the mornings unless I'm just like a lazy Sunday type vibe. In your adult life, what are your top priorities to make sure you protect your peace and energy? I would say disengaging with a lot of people, not just people, but maybe like things, topics, not to the point that it's like unhealthy and you're repressing everything, or like if you're not thinking about important things, then you have to obviously sometimes do that. You cannot just constantly avoid, but if you know that there's something that's like a super triggering topic and you're able to like reorient and think about other things, I think that sometimes it's okay to just protect your brain and just protect your mood. It's good to process things and your emotions, but there's also a limit where your brain is like, okay, I've had enough and let's not do that right now. So obviously some topics you're going to ruminate on. If you have a breakup or like major falling out with a friend and you're confused about it, you're gonna probably have to think about those things a lot when they're fresh. But if it comes to just like general overthinking, I want to say just try not to, but like that doesn't really help. How do you deal with getting older but still feeling like a kid? I'm 22 and I still feel 17. I mean, I would say just give it time, and also don't put so much pressure onto yourself to like feel like you have to feel a certain way. It's kind of one of those things where when you're young, you think that adulthood is gonna feel like this and that, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna be so grown up when I'm like 21, 25. The number keeps going up as you get older. And you're like, oh no, I'm 25. I'm gonna be so grown when I'm 30. Not realistic. Some people feel their age maybe. And I would say it starts to even back out a little bit as you get to your later 20s. I'd say 25, I really, really felt 25. Now that I'm 26, I just don't care anymore. When I was 22, 23, 24, I was having a crisis about, oh my God, I'm gonna like hit the latter half of my 20s. This is insane. Like I'm gonna be not young anymore. Like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? And then I was just like, this is such a ridiculous way of thinking. Yes, I am still young. Like I'm capable. My body does everything I need it to. I have a lot of vigor running through me still. Like I'm good, queen. Stay healthy, take care of yourself, and you're gonna feel young as hell. And it doesn't fucking matter. It does not matter if you feel 18 and you're 23, whatever. It might start to click as you get older and you might just be like, oh yeah, maybe I just like had a perception that this age was supposed to feel a lot more mature than it does. We're all just still learning. But you also start to feel like you get your head on your shoulders a bit, obviously, after your brain develops. I mean, it's not like a light switch, but it was a big difference for me. Even from like 24 to 25, I just felt something in my brain kind of like shifting. And now at 26, I feel like I'm starting to become a much more regulated adult, and it's actually crazy. Like, oh my God, I feel... Wait, but now I'm like sad about it. No, wait, now I'm... But then I get sad and I am like, fuck, why am I like not 19? But there's nothing you can do, bitch. Like, one day I'm gonna be like 40 and I'm gonna be like, why can't I be 26? So just stop the cycle. Any tips on loving yourself and not constantly being in love with those who can't reciprocate? You have to find a way to not center love, which is very hard. I'm also a complete hypocrite because I've centered love for my entire 20s. I've really stepped out of that. That sounds bad. We love Cole. He's obviously been the love of my life, but basically we were like playing house from the time we were like 19, 20. It got really intense. Living in the mountains, obviously, during the collapse of our town. Like, all these experiences bonded us, but sometimes bonded us traumatically, you know what I mean? Like, that just happens when you're young. It's not the other person, but it's just like these first life experiences of like both of us were not really having a lot of family support for a couple years. And I don't mean financial support, I mean like emotional support. But what I've really learned over that time is that I wish I didn't spend so much time centering our relationship. Like, I wish I had made more of a conscious effort to spend time with friends and fill up that cup, because I feel like there was a couple years there where I really was like antisocial, and it was never because I wanted to be that kind of person that like didn't have friends. I just got very wrapped up. Well, this barely answered your question. I don't know. I have a video called How to Be Your Own Best Friend, and I think that's a kind of better in-depth answer to your question about how to love yourself, because that's hard and individual for every person, just like most of these fucking questions. But yeah, when it comes to choosing shitty partners over and over again, I think eventually you just have to like have a conversation with yourself and be like, okay, what am I seeing? Not 100%, like obviously if you get fucked over or cheated on by somebody, that is never your fault. But if there's a continued pattern of choosing people that do not end up being good partners to you, I think you have to look at it somewhere. You have to like somewhere be like, where is this pattern coming from? Am I ignoring this red flag? Am I seeking out this potential person that maybe I think that they're my type, but because of that, I'm ignoring this behavior? Or am I, you know, leading with too much information about myself so they have a bigger potential to manipulate me? Like, there's a lot of ways you can guard yourself and observe and kind of test the waters. What's your fave self-care ritual? I need some inspo. I hope you're feeling good soon. Thank you so much. I'm a huge bath girl. I love to take baths. Today, I took a bath. I sat in there for like 2 hours, dead ass. Shit was comfy. Did my whole like care routine, like showered off first, shaved, hair, everything. And I just lit a fall candle, and they're going right now. It smells so good in here. But I have an apple one in there. The apple one is so delicious and cozy. I don't even like apples like that, but I love the smell of apples. And I just went and played YouTube videos, caught up on some of my favorite TikTokers and stuff. Sometimes I definitely try to step away from social media as a self-care thing, but I don't feel like I've been super plugged into my phone recently, so I was like, I'm gonna go on TikTok. What was your childhood favorite movie? Ooh, well, one of them was actually Halloween Town. Perfect time of year because Halloween is coming up. But I was obsessed with Halloween Town. I loved all of the series, but that movie just felt so magical to me when I was younger. And then I was also obsessed with Aquamarine. Honestly, all through middle school. I'll still watch it. Actually, I watched it pretty damn recently. It's still a comfort movie for me. What's one thing you wish viewers understood about the work that goes into your videos? You know, I don't know. I don't feel super underappreciated. I feel like my audience is super awesome, very supportive, and I do get comments about like my editing, and people notice if I work really hard on a video, which I really appreciate. Those are my favorite comments. If people compliment my appearance or anything like that, who isn't flattered? But I feel so much more excited when I get a comment about how hard I worked on a video, or that people notice this editing technique or this or the music, or that's my favorite thing. I love that reaction. So yeah, I don't really feel like I need to like prove anything. I think my editing speaks for itself. Sometimes people might think that I don't edit my own videos. Not everybody knows that I do my own editing, because I guess a lot of YouTubers do outsource that. That might bug me a tiny bit. I'd be like, no, it's me. But other than that, I'm good. Oh my God, I'm fucking high. Which rent was higher, in the city or in the woods? I'll be home shopping soon. If you buy a house up in the mountains where I was living, there's a lot of pretty cheap cabins still, like $300K, and they can be gorgeous craftsmanship, like original wood, like super well kept. even some that are like 250,000. They're just like small or maybe need a little bit of repair, but there's some good ones up there. But when it comes to renting, it's kind of all over the place. You can find cheaper than LA, but obviously I was living in the mountains not too far outside of LA. Like it's like 90 minutes to 2 hours to get up there. It was starting to have more Airbnbs, more expensive rent and stuff. I wasn't paying like super cheap. It was pretty similar to what I'm paying now actually, but the utilities, oh my god, I horrible. In the winter, trying to heat the house on the old like heaters, oh my god, with all the snow outside, there was months where my electric bill I think was like, or maybe it was my gas bill, I don't even remember which bill, but it was like 500 plus. What has been the highlight of your mental health break? Definitely just like the friends I've made and becoming more myself again and routine, moving obviously. The whole thing has just been so needed. What is your ancestry? You have fine genes. Thanks. I'm like just like fucking Irish, British. I am super white, not really anything at all in me other than Caucasian. I think it was like maybe a little bit of French or something too. I had 23 in me, but yeah, I'm very Irish and I still haven't been to Ireland. Weed or nicotine? Who are you talking to right now? Weed. Any tips and advice for navigating the early 20s? I'm so lost. Well, I feel like my early 20s are just not the most realistic representation of what an average early 20s is. Doing YouTube as my job is probably skewed my perspective somewhat. I don't want to be out of touch. I'm like high now. But of course, just in general, like being that age and navigating that emotionally, I just say give yourself grace. You're gonna realize later just how damn young it is, and like you might take yourself super seriously at times, but you have so much room for growth. You have so much room for change. You have so much room to find who you are, and who you are right now is only going to develop, and you're only going to thrive more and more through life. And you might also have some years or periods that are like super rough and you're not thriving, but that's what your 20s are, and it's kind of beautiful in a way. I mean, obviously, like if you have like a traumatic time, it's not always beautiful. Like I can't always romanticize everything, but there can be times where you look back on the struggle and you can be like, I made it a long way from there potentially, you know? And there's just such a rawness to that period of your life. I feel like adulthood changes a lot for me, like when I was like 21 plus and I was suddenly allowed into spaces that had a lot of other adults of all ages, like much older than me, and I was being spoken to for the first time in that kind of setting. That to me was like, whoa, oh my God. Granted, it wasn't right when I was 21 because I turned 21 April 2020. So obviously the world was shut down. Horrible time to turn 21. But it's amazing because I feel like time has flown by since then, but at the same time, so much has happened for me, and I've experienced so many different versions of myself, and the rock bottom lows have only taught me how to cope with those feelings and what I need to do to get better. And obviously not just me, like this is why I'm in fucking therapy and stuff. But I don't think I'll ever get to as low lows as some parts of my early 20s and maybe like even mid 20s. And so it comforts me in a way because I'm just like, well, that shit was fucking crazy, but now I know how to handle this situation. I can teach myself to regulate this better, do this better, maybe be a little smarter here. It's like the puzzle of your life just starts to click into place, every little piece, you know? Okay, ew, what the fuck? How do you get rid of FOMO and enjoy alone time? I enjoy alone time, but I don't know, because I still haven't completely gotten over the FOMO part, because I feel like I truly do need balance or I start to go stir crazy. Because I can enjoy my alone time, my solace, for a day or two, or maybe if I'm really feeling like I need space, 3 to 4 days. But then I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm ready to hang out with someone, I'm social. But obviously you should be able to stay home if you have to and reasonably entertain yourself if it's not realistic to go out that week. This will be my second time referencing this video, but same kind of thing as I said in my other answer. My video, How to Be Your Own Best Friend, I talk a lot about being alone and how to eliminate distractions and learn to like being in your own company. Advice on friend with benefit situationships. I'm strict, okay? Obviously at the end of the day, my friends are free to do what the fuck they want in their lives, but they know that if they come to me and I think the situationship they're in is not benefiting them, I'm gonna tell them straight. I think a lot of situationships do not benefit either party, or they benefit one party specifically. So I personally avoid them. I think a lot of the time it's just a way for people to get all the benefits of a real relationship while stringing someone along. If you have the world's healthiest situationship, I guess, and none of this applies, then good for you. But in general, I just like think that they can be really messy. They are fun though, I get it. Like before, obviously I was dating Cole. It's not like I never had little flings and shit with people. That's just part of being young and trying things out. But if it gets to a point that this person is not respecting you, not respecting your time, find someone that wants to claim you, please. Will you always be tied to California? Great question. I am not sure. I'm never sure, actually. So California has been pretty much the majority of my adult life. I moved here the day after I turned 20, but I'm also just like not sure if I will always be tied here. I think I need to leave to know if this is where I want to come back to. I definitely do at some point want to give somewhere else a real chance, but I love California and I ride for her. It's expensive here and it's hard to survive sometimes, but then the beach is right there, the mountains are right there, the desert is right there. I'm not even kidding, all these things are within like 90 minutes of each other. Once you're in the bubble of living here, it's pretty hard to imagine leaving. I still do want to leave someday. I'm also never in some crazy hurry. Everything I could want is right here. Obviously I live in Long Beach, that's not LA proper, but my thing is a lot of people shit on LA as a whole and they discard a lot of the very small little subsections of LA, or even large subsections of LA that have so much culture, families that have lived there for generations. They just like talk about very popular touristy spots. California is what you make it. If you're miserable here, you're probably just a miserable person in general, unless there's some specific reason why you really aren't happy here. Can't invalidate everybody, but like a lot of people shit on certain parts of California and I'm just like, okay, well maybe that says something about who you surround yourself with, because the assumption that people here are shallow or that everyone's rude or bougie, it's just like so skewed. And it's like, okay, well babe, you just like chose to move straight to Hollywood and talk to social climbers 24/7 instead of making friends with locals or going to actual neighborhoods. So that shit gets under my skin. What exotic pet would you have? I don't think I would have an exotic pet unless maybe one day if I was in the right setting, I would rescue one. I wouldn't like seek out and buy an exotic pet because I think the majority of the time it can be kind of inhumane to own animals that are exotic. I don't know if like snakes or anything like that are considered exotic pets. And I know there's instances where people can own reptiles and things like that that are ethical and they do a great job. You would never see me owning like a monkey or like a fucking, I don't know, like a big cat. They can just be in their natural habitat. I would never want to pay someone who ripped them from that. All right, I'm gonna answer one more question because I've been sitting here for just about an hour now. Last question is advice you would give to yourself 5 years ago. I'd be like, babe, stay focused and go to therapy now. You're gonna save yourself a lot of bullshit because you need to process what the fuck is going on instead of just like having meltdowns. I guess I'm gonna wrap it up here. I love you guys. I will talk to you soon. I'm gonna go sit outside and just like ponder for a little bit before I edit because it's so pretty. I love just sitting on my balcony and staring down. I'm like, I feel like a witch up in her castle. Yeah, okay. Bye.